Weather Center Chief Meteorologist Dave Dierks. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect for northern Wise County, just issued from the north by the National Weather Service. That warning in effect for areas from near Wise up toward Pound. That in effect until 2:30 this morning. That part of a larger complex of storms that is moving through Letcher County. There is a warning there as well until 1:45. Until 1:45 in the morning. Let's go ahead and go full screen with that here. And I'll show you that we do have that warning that was just issued for northern Wise County. Meteorologist Teresa joining us right now, and that new warning now in effect for northern Wise County, mainly north of Wise, but toward the Pound area for the possibility of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and 1-inch diameter hail. However, the important part of this warning is that there is a tag at the warning indicates that a tornado is possible. So the storm that had the warning with it as it came across Leslie County and Perry County, the tornado warning was allowed to expire. The rotation had diminished, but over the past 15 minutes or so, we have noticed that the wind shear and rotation has begun to pick up a little bit as well. So not necessarily firm enough indication for a tornado warning, but a tornado possible. With this storm as it moves through. Right now, it's not into Wise County, at least the dangerous part of the storm. It's kind of bearing down on Whitesburg, Kentucky at this point in time.
Exactly. This is until 1:45. Okay. For the Letcher County portion of this storm and Pike County. That then also is extended into northern parts of Wise County until 2:30 in the morning. That is right along US Highway 23. Zoom a little tighter here. We'll be able to see that it does include areas of Wise County around Pound, for example. It does include Whitesburg and Letcher County, Colson. It does include Jenkins. It does also include Hellier in Pike County to the north and east of Pound. Nothing yet for Dickinson County, but I wouldn't be surprised if a warning was issued for Dickinson County or extended into Dickinson County shortly. But the reason that we wanted to bring your attention to that tornado possible is that there has been some bit of rotation, or at least some shear showing up here again, not as well defined as it once was, back near Hyden as it came through Leslie County. But you can see that we do have the opposing wind fields here. 25-mile-per-hour winds there, 42-mile-an-hour winds coming in the opposite direction or away from or toward the radar there, and that is, indication at least some weak rotation. That is something we'll have to keep an eye on. Yeah, and when you put that 25 miles per hour, that's a little bit lower than what we were looking at just a few minutes ago. But
you're right. About 6 minutes ago, we had about a 47-mile-per-hour wind speed at that level in that section of the little couplet.
I would just like to add something just briefly. Yeah, so hypothetically, if you were to take all that shear, not saying it's actually reaching on the ground, but let's just assume for a minute hypothetically that all the winds were reaching the ground, you would take the winds in the green and then both the red, add them together. That would give you your gate-to-gate shear. If all those winds were reaching the ground and there was an observed tornado, then you could safely assume that that's about mile-per-hour range you'd be looking at with a tornado if it was actually observed and reaching the ground.
So we're getting a new scan there too. Thanks, Kit. And again, it's noticeable, but certainly it doesn't scream tornado, I don't think, at this point in time. But it definitely needs to be watched to see if that little couplet tightens, perhaps.
Sure.
Maybe if the wind fields get a little stronger. But anywhere from Whitesburg to Jenkins to Dorton, that's where the severe wind field may be as far as straight line winds are concerned. Let me put back on the reflectivity. Kind of got a little carried away there, but anyway, you can see, and a little bit of a bowing structure to that cell as well that's moving through Letcher County, which sometimes signals some strong straight line winds near the apex of that little cell that kind of, see if I can draw it right through here. You can see a little bit of a belt, kind of a bowing structure right there. Sometimes indicates we might be getting some strong winds
out ahead of that line that might be potentially producing some severe wind gusts. They're indicating the Weather Service that maybe 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, which is kind of the threshold for a baseline severe thunderstorm warning. And did they also indicate some quarter-size hail potentially with that as well?
I believe I did notice that. Another thing that's interesting with that, sometimes it doesn't even take 60-mile-per-hour winds to actually blow shingles off of roofs. So you think about potential impacts. Of course, quarter-size hail, could cause some damage on vehicles, and then winds gusting up to 60. Expect some possible damage, certainly on structures that's not maybe built as well, but that's just something, you can think about with a severe thunderstorm warning right now at 60 miles per hour.
And so let's go ahead and track this into the future here, and I'll take that segment that we think probably has the strongest winds running right through here to near Whitesburg, yet to push into the northern part of Wise County, but moving east at about 40 miles per hour. So approximately, it would make it from the line, where that line it kind of stretches in Letcher County, through the northern part of Wise, and then Dickinson and into Buchanan County as well.
Yeah, so we're looking at Pound about 151, Jenkins around 144, so about another 10 minutes. And then we get into Ashcamp and Clintwood about 155, 201. Hayside about 212, and then farther east we're getting into Grundy about 223, and Van Sant about 226, and B 234 in the morning. And
the Grundy and Van Sant one, I got that track that kind of is behind the storms that are already pushing toward Ashcamp, so we might up the arrival time for Grundy and Van Sant, because I got a little bit ahead of myself on that tracks there. So but you're right, it's all moving in that general direction, but the heavy downpours do extend a little bit east of where I drew that path, so it might arrive in Grundy in those areas earlier than what that determined.
Yeah, but regardless, right now that severe thunderstorm warning's in effect until 1:45. And certainly some very strong winds with this, and like you were pointing out, that little bit of a bow there with this particular line. And if we do get those damaging straight line winds, which we have been talking about, they can do just as much damage as a tornado. So just keep that in mind, along with that heavy rainfall. And of course, we're seeing some small hail with this as well.
And some pretty intense lightning too.
Yes, a lot of lightning that we have been seeing with this line of thunderstorms. Starting to see some more activity near Nora, Wise, Norton, and Coburn, starting to see at least some light to moderate rain showers. So some stronger thunderstorms kind of working its way into more of Southwest Virginia right now.
The one cell there that, we've been looking at, and we've been telling you about, the one that has a severe thunderstorm warning with the tag of a tornado possible. Not too long ago, about an hour ago, it was actually an observed tornado, correct? I believe that was the same cell that it was, trailing over eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, and so that's why we, wanted to make sure that folks were aware that even though this is a severe thunderstorm warning, effective until 1:45 for Letcher County and into Pike County, but also in fact until 2:30 in the morning for the northern part of Wise County. So let's see here. I want to make that
still
go.
Nothing for the Tri-Cities yet. Look, well, that wasn't as impressive as we saw earlier when we were talking, but
and even the hail size is not looking particularly. You can see a little area there. Mainly small hail would be in the green areas, but there might be maybe up to nickel or perhaps up to quarter-size hail in that small little section of the storm between Dean and McRoberts and Etty. That in Letcher County, the northeastern parts of Letcher County. So at this point, it does appear we could see some hail, probably not extremely large, which is good news, but certainly the potential for some damaging wind gusts. There's the, it looks like we've lost that little couplet too.
Yeah.
The wind shear couplet that we were keeping an eye on, which is good news.
Yes. very good news for that.
Let me see. Well, let's take it back and show you what we were concerned of when we were watching it. See, that was about at 124. That wasn't not that long ago. And that's when we were beginning to see those winds kind of tighten up a little bit. And that was the one that really got, that was about 116. And that was just to the northeast of Blackie and in western Letcher County. And so that's when the Weather Service said they're watching the storm, and then not too many minutes after that, issued the severe thunderstorm warning with that potential tag of a possible tornado. But it's certainly that gate-to-gate shear that was showing up, around 120, 115, that has considerably lost its identity a little bit.
Yes, yeah.
That's some good news.
At least that is good news, but certainly we're still looking at some very strong winds with this thunderstorm that's going to continue to move through off to the east. So this storm is what, about 40, 45 miles moving?
Yeah, moving east about 40 to 45 miles per hour. And it's a near solid line. It is a solid line of rain and storms right near the Kentucky-Virginia border. And there are two cells that are being warned for. The one that we are talking about until 2:30 for northern Wise County. It will probably be pushing into Dickinson County, obviously before 2:30. So that may include Clintwood. Perhaps could get included in that warning shortly. Not saying they will, because now that the tornadic signatures, the shear has weakened. It was never a tornadic signature, but the shear appears to have weakened. Not sure what the status of that will be, but we also have some severe thunderstorms now that have moved from Kentucky into Tennessee along Interstate 75 between Jellicoe and La Follette, still west of northeast Tennessee counties, but they're getting closer, and it looks like, there we go. We just got the warning for Dickinson County as well.
Yes.
I would like to also add, so some of those locations like around that warning are still showing up with a strong storm signature. In other words, winds maybe up to 50 miles per hour, and hail not quite up to an inch or a quarter, maybe more like, penny or, nickel-sized hail. So a strong line of thunderstorms regardless, all the way down along the Virginia-Kentucky line, down into Tennessee. So even along the line, the Virginia-Kentucky line, still be aware that you could have a strong thunderstorm with this line of storms that rolls through, bringing heavy downpours, and winds and so forth.
Oh, most definitely, because this is encompassing all the way into West Virginia, into Virginia, Kentucky, and then, of course, a little bit farther south into Tennessee, and that's not yet into the Tri-Cities area, but certainly it is going to be moving in. So that severe thunderstorm warning for Buchanan and Dickinson County in effect until 2:15, and still look at about 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail up to about an inch in size.
And so radar indicated, and so at this point, that tornado possible tag has been removed for that storm as it moves from Letcher County through northern Wise and into Dickinson County. So still the likelihood of some strong winds that could cause some straight line wind damage up to 60 miles per hour and perhaps up to quarter-size hail. That warning for northern Wise County till 2:30 and until 2:15 for the newest warning there for Dickinson, much of Dickinson, including Clintwood, and into the western part of Buchanan County as well. We'll zoom in a little tighter. You can see some of the areas that are under the gun here.
Hayside,
go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Clincho, Fremont, Clintwood, of course, and even into Breaks Interstate Park is in that warning. So, in fact, you're just on the very edge of that, the severe line of thunderstorms that's going to be moving in. It's hitting Jenkins right now, Pound almost just to the northwest, but certainly Clintwood is going to be in this and will be very shortly receiving that the heavier rainfall and those very strong 60-mile-per-hour winds.
And so we've kind of got a large warning grouping of counties now that the National Weather Service Morristown has included in a new severe thunderstorm warning, and that is including, well, these will all kind of flash at the same time. All of Lee County, a good part of Wise County, most of Scott County, most of Hancock County, and a large part of Hawkins County. That is for a radar indicated line of severe storms. The National Weather Service indicating it at 141. Right now, severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from, these are towns that are not necessarily in our viewing area yet, but from near Ages to near Cubage to near Knowtown. Don't know exactly where those are, but most likely in Kentucky, extending down into perhaps the East Tennessee as well. But in any event, this is a solid, continuous line now of severe thunderstorm warnings, extending all the way from western Buchanan, Dickinson, most of Wise County now, Scott County, Lee County, most of Hancock County, as well as Hawkins County. And this newest grouping of warnings, which covers a large number of counties, there are several counties in effect until 2:45. The line of storms indicated by National Weather Service moving east at 50 miles per hour. And the hazards or dangers with this storm include 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, as well as possible nickel-sized hail. So those storms continue to move pretty quickly off to the east at about 50 miles per hour.
So they're moving very quickly, and again, just to the west of the Tri-Cities area. So would not be surprised if this line of thunderstorms holds together and they'll issue more severe thunderstorm warnings that will include the Tri-Cities, will include Kingsport and Bristol and Johnson City. Would not be surprised at that.
And we can put, they indicate that line is moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So let me up the movement a little bit to 50.
And that is very, very fast moving storms.
Absolutely. So let's do a couple of storm tracks. Maybe we'll start with the southern portion of this, and then we'll do the northern portion of these warnings and give folks an idea of the timing. So if we'll take the line extending from near Middlesboro to La Follette down to near Clinton and moving east at about 50 miles per hour. It's east-southeast, really, and that would take it toward these communities, getting into Hawkins and Hancock County and Morristown and Hamlin County. You can see between now and 2:38 there, 2:40.
Yeah, and to Sneedville about 2:14. So we've got about another half an hour until it reaches into Sneedville. Rogersville about 2:39. So a little bit of ways for Rogersville, but nonetheless, you know, take precautions.
And these are approximate times too, because you know you've got these cells that are kind of merging, and this lower end of the line is moving southeast. The one to the north is moving to the east. So these are approximate times. Not going to write that in stone or etch that in stone there as far as the time, but approximately we think that's. And then if we do maybe a track on these as well that are approaching Southwest Virginia. We got some cells in Scott County and Wise County. Those I don't think are being warned for. It's the line that's back to the west.
Exactly. These are just regular, stronger thunderstorms, producing some heavy rainfall within those. But the line that is producing the severe thunderstorm warnings is this line right here from Harlan, Cumberland to Whitesburg, Clintwood area, and this is what is moving east. And so we're putting this on a timeline. Wise about 2:04, Norton about 2:07, Coburn 2:17, into Blackwater about 2:23, Duffield 2:28, St. Paul about 2:38, Castlewood 2:42, and Tazewell County about 2:50. And currently it's about 1:46. So a good hour until it reaches into Tazewell County, but certainly within the next 20-25 minutes, it will be hitting into Rose Hill, Wise, Norton, Coburn, and even into Duffield about almost 2:30. So about another 45 minutes.
And by that time, you know, we're talking, you talk about storms that are, you know, moving into Gate City or Duffield, Morristown, Rogersville, where these warnings are currently in effect. You're talking then, you know, we're almost into the metro, obviously. We're into Kingsport.
Exactly, yeah.
And moving into eventually to Bristol and Johnson City and Abingdon and Greenville as well.
Yeah,
We'll just have to kind of gauge and watch how these hold together over the next couple of hours, whether they, you know, require warnings throughout the entire stretch of the viewing area, or whether they show some signs of weakening. But they are definitely intense storms at this point, with that possibility of some 60-mile-an-hour winds and maybe some quarter-sized hail.
Heavy rainfall right now from Jenkins all the way down to Harlan, just starting to push into Lee County, really on the border of Harlan and Lee County right now. So again, just be aware of this and take precautions, because this line is producing up to, what do you say, 50, 60 mile per hour?
Yeah, radar indicated winds up to 60 mile an hour.
60 mile per hour. And they're moving
nickel-sized hail
at about 50 miles per hour?
They're moving east between 40 and 50 miles per hour,
okay.
depending on what segment of the storm that you want to talk about.
So regardless, they're very fast-moving storms, and they're going to do a lot of damaging winds, heavy rainfall, and of course we're looking at least a good quarter-size hail within these thunderstorms, and a lot of lightning.
At the moment, too, I just wanted to emphasize, and it's something that you all have already been touching on. In general, we're looking at this point, a straight line wind threat. A lot of times people and folks are, you know, looking for the tornado warnings, and, you know, and I totally get that. Definitely tornadoes are, you know, a bad force of nature, but in this case, a lot of times with straight line winds, you can actually have a wider spread severe weather threat where you actually get more impacts, more widespread impact, due to just the larger nature of the storms. That's kind of what we're looking at with this. It's a much larger swath of winds that'll be progressing through the region here in just a little bit, next hour to 2 hours.
And like I always say, they can do just as much damage as a tornado.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's something, you know, not to take lightly, to, you know, make sure that you have everything outside, that, you know, maybe some things are kind of loose outside your trash can, for an example. You know, make sure that things like that are secure, because with these winds the way they are, you're going to find it probably in your neighbor's yard or someplace, or down the street. So
absolutely, and we're still getting some storm reports from the west. I mean, you know, not exactly in the viewing area, but this whole line of showers and storms, you know, stretches down into the Cumberland Plateau. So one of the most recent ones that just came in was Campbell County, Tennessee, or Campbell, Tennessee, I should say. Still a report there with high winds that's brought some trees down. So that's something else that, you know, we're still getting some more reports in.
yes, and also with winds, we could see power outages as well. So that is something, you know, that you might be losing power overnight.
I've lost the radar on that there.
Yeah, a lot of times, you know, it doesn't even take winds up to 60 to get those power outages. We've actually seen power outages in the region when you get a large swath of winds up to about 50 miles per hour. So sometimes it doesn't even take severe criteria. You can have strong winds and still have that.
So we have lost our radar data on Max 1, so we might want to go to Max 2 here. You want to do that, Kit, and see if we can't get...
You know, we'll take a look at Max 2.
I'm not sure what's going on here. There we go. All right, so I'm going to try to get this back up, the radar.
Okay.
For some reason, we've got it not showing the reflectivity anymore, but we'll go ahead and use Max 2, and you can probably find level 2 radar on there too, can't you? Is that an option?
So we do have the level 2. Just one thing to point out, my apologies in advance, it is running a little bit slower than Max 1 was running.
Let me reboot Max 1 and you guys go ahead and go through, and I'll just see if that helps.
Here's a look at the lightning thread on that.
A lot of lightning. We've been talking, 362 strikes within the last 15 minutes with this line of thunderstorms.
Yeah, and a lot of times lightning is indicative of how strong the line is. Now, we have noticed in general, this is a general consensus, some weakening from the west to the east. That's something we've definitely noticed. But still, even now, like you mentioned, Teresa, still quite a bit of lightning with this. Also, lightning is kind of indicative of hail. In this case, we've been looking at, I think that most of these warnings have been showing wind, maybe hail, possibly up to about nickel, possibly up to quarter-size hail, I should say.
Right. I would say up to at least a good nickel or quarter size in some of those storms that certainly that were in the tornado warning, but nonetheless, even within the severe thunderstorm warned storms, we could see at least a good up to quarter size hail.
All right. And we do have those severe thunderstorm warnings that extend now all the way from western parts of Buchanan County. You see that they're west of Grundy, all the way down to Lee County there in Virginia. The line, though, like you all have been mentioning, extending well down into Tennessee, including all the way down to Knoxville.
Knoxville area. Look at this line of thunderstorms, severe thunderstorm warnings, all the way up into southwest Kentucky, into southeast Kentucky, or especially near Norton, Wise area, all the way down to Lee. And then, of course, it is extending into near Knoxville, just north of Knoxville, Rutledge area, Dandridge, Middlesboro. So this is a long line of severe thunderstorms. All of these are under severe thunderstorm warnings. So again, this is what it is looking like right now. Here's Kingsport, not affecting the Tri-Cities yet, but within the next hour to 2 hours, it is going to be moving in and affecting into the Tri-Cities. So we're looking at Kingsport, Bristol, probably at least a good 3 o'clock. It is almost 2 o'clock right now. Here's Jonesville area. Look at this lightning, a lot of lightning within these these severe thunderstorm warned storms. Pennington Gap, probably about another 10 minutes. And then we go into Norton about 2:08. Castlewood about 2:33, Rogersville 2:45, Hawkins County about 2:47, and then of course here into the Tri-Cities and Kingsport about almost 3 o'clock, or at least a good quarter after 3. Johnson City about 3:30. So again, about another hour and a half or so, they will start to move in eastward into the Tri-Cities area. Wind speed and direction, really not. Definitely not what it was earlier within those severe thunderstorms, or at least the tornado warned storm. So that is good. We're losing that little bit of the couplets that we did have earlier, that within those tornado warned storms, we did have actual confirmed tornadoes that were in southeast Kentucky. As they pushed more into Clintwood area and of course into Grundy, they're kind of losing that, but certainly we're still looking at those severe thunderstorm warnings with wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour and at least a good quarter-size hail. For Buchanan and Dickinson counties, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect until about 2:15 to 2:30 for Wise. For Pound, that it does include Pound with about 60 mile per hour winds, close to about at least a good 3/4 or up to an inch of hail size in diameter. So here Saturday, let's see, Norton, which includes Hawkins, Lee, Wise, Big Stone Gap, Churchill, into about 2:45. So about another 50 minutes that these severe thunderstorm warned are in effect. And again, they're pushing off to the east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. A lot of heavy rain within those and a lot of lightning. We're looking at number of lightning strikes, 296 within the last 15 minutes within this line of thunderstorms. So we're looking. Go ahead, Kit, were you going to say something?
So yeah, just kind of like what you're already mentioning about the lightning, and a lot of times the lightning is indicative of the hail potential. So, you know, we think about this, and, you know, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but, you know, the hail falls down due to gravity, and then updrafts bring it back up. In general, with quarter-sized hail, just kind of an interesting nugget here, but with a storm like this, if you have winds of around 60 miles per hour, a good rule of thumb is the winds that are actually warned for, that's a good indication of how strong the updrafts are. So to get quarter-sized hail, you would really need winds of about 50 to 60 miles per hour. Just kind of a little interesting nugget with that.
And certainly we are receiving that with these line of thunderstorms that a lot of the area right now is under that severe thunderstorm warning, which that is what we are definitely seeing with these. A lot of lightning, hail, and winds up to about 50 to 60 miles per hour.
And I know Northeast Tennessee has missed out on the severe weather threat earlier, looking like finally now that we are seeing this kind of progress to the south and east, we do have those warnings in effect now that do extend all the way into Rogersville, right there knocking there at the door near Kingsport. Not in Kingsport yet, but like you mentioned, Teresa, this line is progressing to the east. So we had some of those estimated times of arrival on this storm cells as they're progressing off to the east, southeast quickly, what, about 40 to 50 miles per hour.
Right. So Joan...
I was going to say, I did get the radar data. You guys have had it there, of course, on the other computer. But I did want to point out, you know, we've been talking about the wind being a danger at 60 mile per hour, you know, probably max gust with most of these storms. But we're also looking at the possibility of some hail. And I did want to put kind of a wide view on max 1. We can kind of go back and forth to max 1 or 2, depending on what product we want to look at. But there's the recent hail tracker. And most of the hail looks to be under the severe threshold of inch diameter, probably in the pea to maybe penny or nickel size, though there is one cell that is pushing into Wise County. That there looks like that could have perhaps nickel to potentially quarter-size hail with it as it pushes off to the east.
So if that holds together within these storms, that's going to be moving into Wise County, Norton, Wise cities.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so at this point, I don't see any real danger in most of this line of damaging hail, but certainly all along it there could be some hail up to the size of nickels. Perhaps in that cell beginning to push into Wise County, there might be some nickel to quarter size hail with that. But I do think, as you guys have pointed out, that perhaps straight line wind gusts are at this point the main danger with this line of storms as they continue to push off to the east. In fact, you have been pointing out almost the entire western portion of our viewing area is under a severe thunderstorm warning from Dickinson and Buchanan County and Wise County and Lee and Scott, Hancock and Hawkins County, all under severe thunderstorm warnings for various expiration times, but for the next half hour to an hour for these areas. And the danger, of course, with the straight line winds continue to advance closer to the Tri-Cities. In fact, we could probably maybe do a little quick storm track with this area of storms that will be approaching the Tri-Cities. It's kind of moving into the Jonesville area.
Okay.
And we'll track that off to the east at about 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, Jonesville, if you are looking off to the west, you're probably seeing a lot of lightning with this storm that is going to be moving into your area very, very shortly. Putting it off to the east, looking at Sneedville about 225, Fort Blackmore about 230, Klondike 238, Nicholsville about 249, and Burgoynesville about almost 3 o'clock in the morning.
I was going to add a broader perspective shows, really once this line moves through, models been hinting at, it's pretty much over. Once this whole line of showers and storms moves through, I know it's a widespread line, but here in the next 2-3 hours, once that moves out, that's it. The severe weather threat goes down. However, I do want to emphasize tomorrow is going to be windy regardless, breezy and windy, turning partly cloudy, but returning to fair conditions, but turning breezy behind the system by, Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
I was going to show a future track real quick.
Yeah, this line, when it's out of here by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, that'll be it. We will see some drier conditions, and like Kit was saying, windy as well. We'll see gusts anywhere from about 20 up to 30, 35 miles per hour as we go ahead into the rest of the morning and afternoon.
I keep bringing up the wrong one, kids.
Okay.
And the weekend looks drier too, so I mean it's going to be, you know, minus the winds, not a bad weekend. Temperatures though still look to be warm, upper 70s to around 80, so not a bad weekend, much drier. What, like a pop-up shower chance on Sunday is what most of the data was showing earlier.
Yeah, maybe early on Sunday morning. So,
All right, so
other
I know
than
what
that,
I'm doing wrong.
other than that,
the day has changed. That's why
the
it's
weekend
plotting
looks
old
good.
data.
So just get rid of this rain and thunderstorm activity over the next few hours, and then we'll be smooth sailing as we head into the rest of the weekend. So we're trying to get this future clouds and radar.
I'm doing this. If you want, go ahead and go to max 2,
Okay.
and I will try to get together what I'm trying to put together here for the timing,
right.
beginning and end time of this complex of storms. I got to change the hours just because we've gone into the next day, and
No worries. Here's Richlands. Some light to moderate rain showers right now. Just on the doorstep, starting to see some heavier rainfall. Probably if you're looking north and west, seeing a lot of lightning with this storm, with this line of thunderstorms that will be pushing in. Whitewood, almost on your doorstep. Davenport and of course Grundy, you're in the thick of it right now. Lebanon, just probably another 15-20 minutes or so, and it will be in your area. It is currently right over Norton and Wise, getting in the heaviest of rainfall. Will be very, very shortly into your area. And then as we're heading down into Lee County, into Jonesville, some heavy rainfall right now, and again, a lot of lightning if you're looking off to the north and especially the west, and then points a little bit farther south. But number of strikes, 285 within this line of thunderstorms over the last 15 minutes. So a lot of lightning. And of course, the main thing with this line of thunderstorms is going to be the damaging winds. We're talking straight line winds, which again, they're moving off to the east at about 45, 50 miles per hour with wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour. So you're looking at a lot of damage that these thunderstorms, this line of thunderstorms will be doing as it moves through. And with straight line winds, it can do just as much damage as a tornado. So the hail tracker right now, we're looking at actually a little bit lesser, about maybe pea-sized hail. Earlier we have had reports up to nickel or at least a good quarter-size hail, but right now looking at some smaller hail just to the northwest of Clincho, Hayside just to the west of you, and northeast of Clintwood, down near just to the west of Big Stone Gap right now, Pennington Gap, west of you, into Harlan County right now. But again, the main thing right now is going to be the very strong winds as well as a lot of lightning. And then of course the heavy rainfall. We're expecting anywhere from about a good about 3/4 of an inch up to about an inch, inch and a half in a lot of areas. In some locations could be seen a little bit heavier amounts, up to 2 inches, especially with these warm storms that are moving very quickly over the same areas over. So once this line moves through, we are still going to be receiving at least some heavier rain showers behind this storm, this line of thunderstorms, but it will continue to weaken as it moves off to the east, especially east of the Tri-Cities, looking more weakening. At least that's what it's looking like in the future cast that we've been kind of keeping a very close eye on as we get closer to maybe about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning into the East Tennessee mountains and North Carolina mountains. Right now it's looking like it's going to be weakening, but certainly we'll keep you updated on the very latest with that. But right now we do have a line of severe thunderstorm warnings that's in effect until 2:30, 2:15, 2:30.
Yeah, and just have to mention the amount of thunder boomers there. My goodness, bada bing, bada boom. Look at all the lightning we got going on there. It's nature's light show.
Now we're starting. It is definitely nature's light show. Greenville area receiving some stronger thunderstorms right now, so starting to see that moving in.
Starting to see some development ahead of that main line. And I did get the time here. I just wanted to give folks an idea of how this is going to progress across the area.
Okay.
And we could go to Max 1 to show the future track. Approximately right now you can see where the line of storms is currently, and it looks like it will continue to slide pretty quickly off to the east and southeast at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So that will take it into the Tri-Cities between now, at least the western part of the Tri-City, between now and about 3 a.m. And some of those storms will be pretty heavy, obviously, and then we'll continue to overspread between 3 and 4, it looks like, to 4:30, the rest of northeast Tennessee and southwest Virginia. But you can also notice the future track showing some weakening, it looks like, as we go between the 3 and 5 a.m. hour, and perhaps becoming less severe as it moves further to the southeast. And then notice by 7 o'clock, as you guys have been talking about, it's pretty much pushing out of the region. There might be a couple of scattered showers to begin Saturday, around 7 or 8, especially south and east of the Tri-Cities. But beyond that, it doesn't look like we'll have much left over for the weekend as far as any rain, which is good news. Of course, the Appalachian Trail Days in Damascus is ongoing. It's began today. We've got a lot of folks in town in Damascus right now, so it's going to be a kind of a stormy night for those folks. Just be mindful, make sure you can get into a place of safety when the storms arrive in Damascus. But as far as the remainder of the festival, it does look like things are going to be looking pretty good. Yes, which is great news for them, for Damascus. And of course, all the people that are there for the festival and the people that are going to be going to the festival. Here, let me just put on there. So here's Damascus right there in the southeast part of Washington County, Virginia, along Highway 58 to the southeast of Abingdon. So the storms are still a ways away from Damascus, but I know there's a lot of campers, a lot of hikers. Sure. And so folks who may not be aware of the storms that are approaching, just a heads up that is going to be a period of some active weather as we go through the overnight, even though still is as quiet as can be in the Damascus area. But we'll be moving in that direction. But as you guys have pointed out, that line of severe storms is moving through Lee County now, including areas around Jonesville, Pennington Gap, Keokee, Rose Hill, pushing into Hancock County around Sneedville. And there's some, splash and dash rain showers and thunder ahead of the main line, like you were saying, around Mossheim in Greene County and Tusculum and Limestone. But the main line is still back to the west and pushing through Lee County as we were going through some of the towns and communities there. Big Stone Gap and Norton, Wise and Pound and Coburn and St. Paul and Wise County, and through Clintwood and Nora and Hayside, Breaks, Interstate Park, and Birchleaf in Dickinson County, and then into areas of Buchanan County around Van Sant, Grundy, Whitewood. Less stormy or less heavy rain in Hurley, but still some showers there as well. But you can see the heavy downpours are back into Russell County. Had a lot of severe weather in Wise and Russell County with that initial line this afternoon, and we're starting to see things begin to push into Russell County as well, around Castlewood and to Cleveland, Lebanon, up toward Honeacre and Big A Mountain in that area.
I'll try to put together some power outages here pretty soon too. I do want to at least let you know in Lee County we do have 1,550 folks without power. That's out of 13,000 tracked meters, so about 11% of those tracked meters showing a power outage in Lee County, Virginia right now. And we do have some other numbers too. I'll try to get a graphic updated with that.
But certainly we are seeing power outages.
Yes.
Around. Okay.
And that kind of, like you mentioned earlier, Teresa, with those 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, like we've been talking about, sometimes it doesn't even take winds of just 50 to 60 to cause those power outages. So that's another thing to be on alert for too. As this line moves through, you may lose power. This is a very wide line. winds, and the winds have been strong at times. Not certainly not all of it mixing to the surface, but we have to assume that there are going to be some embedded 60-mile-per-hour gusts within this whole entire line. You see the whole entire severe thunderstorm warning area, which do have those strong wind gusts.
And the body of the text of the warnings from the southern part of the warnings from Wise and Lee and Scott, Hawkins and Hancock County, that indication from the National Weather Service is that we could have wind gusts to 70 miles per hour with that line as it pushes to the east at 45, 50 miles per hour. So that can do considerable damage to some trees and power lines. And like Kit had mentioned, that there were, what did you say, 1,500 plus tracked meters that were without power, which is about 11% of those that are tracked in Lee County, that are without power.
Yeah. And then certainly, I mean, we have seen some power out or some downed trees earlier from that line of thunderstorms that moved through this afternoon into southwest Virginia. So again, this is going to be adding on to that with these very strong winds that are currently moving through the same areas that we saw earlier into the afternoon. So again, that's just something to be aware of, and certainly into Jonesville right now, anywhere from Norton, Wise, Clintwood area, Grundy, Lebanon starting to receive some heavier rainfall, probably seeing a lot of lightning. This line of thunderstorms is producing a ton of lightning. With that, as well as heavy rainfall, we have seen some small hail. It's not so much the hail right now as it was earlier just a few hours ago, especially as this line started to move into southeast Kentucky. But nonetheless, what we are seeing is very strong winds, up to about 60 to possibly even 70 miles per hour at times. This line of thunderstorms is moving off to the east, anywhere from about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So yes, you are going to see straight line winds, some power outages like Kit was saying. We're seeing them already into Lee County. I have a feeling we'll probably see a little bit more power outages as we head into the rest of the early morning hours on this Saturday, just because of the damaging winds that are occurring with this line of thunderstorms. So that's what we're looking at right now. Gate City, just some lighter rain showers, probably seeing some lightning with this, and actually starting to see maybe just a little bit of a cell popping up into near Jonesboro and Johnson City right now, and just south of Baileyton. This one looks like it's moving more towards the east, maybe a little bit north and east, but Gate City area starting to receive some lighter rain showers. Nothing yet really into the Tri-Cities. Maybe just a little bit of maybe just a little bit of some light rain showers east of Bristol, but
Kind of seen within the last few minutes, though, a couple of cells with some downpours have popped up in Greene County and Washington County, Tennessee, and into a little kind of dotting the landscape there in Carter County, Tennessee as well. So,
but this is actually ahead of that main line that is working. That will be moving through. So this is just the start of it.
Yeah,
with
so those aren't, you're right, those aren't being warned for, but there is a little bit of rain activity and some downpours in parts of the Metro, Greene, Washington, Carter, and and the main line still extending back to the west, and will continue to slide off to the southeast at about 45 miles per hour. So, it's going to be probably, another 1 hour or so before we see any of that, begins to push into the metro, that line probably yet an hour away from Kingsport. But we're still, as I mentioned, seeing some pop-up showers with some downpours ahead of the main line. But as far as the main line with the concern for damaging winds continuing to push across Lee County into Hancock County, and now we're seeing that warning extend now into this is a new warning. This does include areas of Hawkins County, Hamlin County, Greene County, southern Washington County, Unicoi County, and Cott County. That's what this line of storms right here that is racing off. Let me go ahead and pop up that warning that just came on.
Okay.
And this is in effect until 3:15.
Okay, 3:15, and this is wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour.
Yeah, they have a considerable wind damage potential with that warning as it begins to move into these areas. You can see we do have some pretty intense rains here across Cott County. I should say near Kodak and Dandridge, and then into Cott County, getting close to Cott County. But I think the main concern for the damaging thunderstorm winds are with, see how fast are they moving? They are moving, they could have up to this nickel-sized hail and 70-mile-an-hour winds. Again, this includes areas around Rogersville and Morristown and Greenville and Cedar Creek and Newport and Irwin. That warning until 3:15 in the morning. Radar indicating a line of severe storms extending from near Sneedville to just northeast of Knoxville to near Oak Ridge, moving east at about 70 miles per hour. So that is at a pretty good clip.
That is. And that's why we have been saying that the main threat with these thunderstorms, this line of thunderstorms, is going to be that damaging wind, the straight line winds.
And I'm going to just track the segment that is probably responsible for that straight line wind damage of 70 miles an hour. I'm going to be a little bit behind that line that's stretching from Knoxville to Kodak, but so it's kind of moving off to the southeast at about 70 miles per hour. And let's see, it'll take it about to right here during that time frame.
Okay, so we're looking at...
I don't want to get in your way here, but I want to kind of keep the box off the radar reflectivity band there.
Nope, that's fine. Baileyton about 239, Mossheim 243, Greenville coming in about 251, Jonesboro close to 3, as well as into Lamar, Irwin a little after 3 in the morning, and Roan Mountain about almost 20 after 3. So we have about another hour before it reaches into Roan Mountain, but certainly before that into Mossheim about 243 and Cherokee Lake about 223. So just a few more minutes before it moves into Cherokee Lake, and then into Bulls Gap about 234. So,
and again, there is that secondary line that's in advance of the one that I'm tracking. So that doesn't mean you won't see something before that, but I'm tracking that main area of storms that the warning was issued for, that's pushing into areas around Cherokee Lake and, well, not Cherokee Lake, but Hamlin County and the Cherokee Lake area, but Cott County, Greene County, Hawkins County, and so forth. So that area of storms continues to push to the southeast with not so much necessarily large and damaging hail, but the likelihood that we will see some strong and possibly damaging straight line winds with that line of storms that's accelerating very quickly. Seems to be moving the southern segment of that line that we were talking about, that the new warning is for, seems to be moving, propagating a little bit faster than the northern part of the line.
I was just thinking the same thing, yeah. But certainly even into Norton and Hayside and Tazewell area, just some heavier rain showers, but then off to the west. Right now, Tazewell is not in that severe thunderstorm warning, but certainly some stronger thunderstorms is moving into Tazewell and into Smith County. Near Marion, just some light to moderate rain showers currently, but certainly you're looking at some rain activity, some heavier rain showers, embedded thunderstorms, stronger thunderstorms that's going to continue to move in to your area, into Smith County and Marion. So not quite yet into the Tri-Cities. We're looking at least a good another hour or so, but certainly it is getting closer. And again, we are looking at, there's Kingsport right now, So a little bit, about, I would say, another hour.
Yeah, I would say so. We can go ahead and let me first find out how fast this line of storms is moving. Let's see here. This one is moving.
Wind gusts up to 70.
Oh yeah, it has that considerable wind damage potential as well.
Okay.
Trying to figure out how fast this one's moving.
So this is...
This one, they have this line moving east at 50, so I'll slow it down a little bit, and we'll plot to see that has this, how fast this will be getting into the, for example, the Gate City and Kingsport, maybe Churchill area as well.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't find that for a second.
So Gate City right now into Scott County.
Okay.
It is actually just pushing in that line into Scott County right now. So here's Nicholsville and Gate City, but certainly it is right on your doorstep.
Right. So if we track this portion of the storm, that would be heading toward Kingsport, and it's moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour, a little bit slower than the southern part of that cell, but that would, within the hour, take it. All right, that's approximately right there.
Okay.
That's about an hour path into the future, which would have it moving through the rest of Scott County, into Russell and into Washington County, Virginia, into Hawkins County, and also into Sullivan County as well.
Yeah, so we're looking at the Tri-Cities a little after 3 in the morning. So looking at about another 40 to 50 minutes before, and into Kingsport, close to 3 in the morning. So we're looking at about another half an hour before it starts to move in the main line of that thunderstorm. Now, certainly we are seeing some pop up ahead of that, some cells that are popping up ahead of that, but certainly the main line that is producing those wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour, the straight line winds will be moving into Gate City about 2:34.
Those winds have been causing power outages, and I know we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but Lee County is still tracking about a little over 1,500 folks without power. That's in Lee County. Russell County, around 110. That's out of about 15,900 that are tracked. So Russell County, Lee County, those are on the list. Wise County, right now about 40. Not seeing as many in Wise County. Let's take a quick trek up to Buchanan County. Buchanan County, looking at about 151 outages. So just all that to say, you have been touching on the strong winds, how much, damage that a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust can cause. Well, we're seeing that evidenced here by the power outages.
And so perhaps indicative of the higher power outage count in Lee County, maybe this line of the storms here pushing from Lee and Southern Wise into Scott County and now into Hancock and pushing into Hawkins County. Those winds may be pretty strong right now, given that we have the higher outage count now in Lee County compared to other areas in Southwest Virginia where these storms have already kind of pushed into.
Yeah, and as bad as it is here, it's infinitely worse in Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky, Harlan County right now, over 3,300 outages. Letcher County, about 1,775 outages currently.
Okay. Well, definitely.
And the severe threat has wound down. Maybe not the flood threat, but the severe threat has wound down for Eastern Kentucky.
Oh yeah.
That's good news for them, but not yet for Southwest Virginia, and certainly not for Northeast Tennessee either.
No, we're actually just getting into the main part, or getting close to the main part, especially into Northeast Tennessee and into right at the border of Kentucky and Virginia, where Jonesville area and Gate City is. And of course, that's where those severe thunderstorm warnings are currently. Just west or northwest of Bristol, could be seen a couple cells that's producing some gusty winds and some moderate downpours right now. just to the west of Bristol and north of Blountville area. And Johnson City, some heavier rain showers pushing through, and then even into Butler could be seeing some lighter rain showers out ahead of that main line that will be moving in within the next hour or so.
We do have another storm report there from Wise, Virginia. Just a report of several trees down. That was at 2:22 a.m., not p.m. I might get my brain confused. It is 2:22.
And where was that at?
Wise, Virginia, Pound.
Pound,
Okay.
Virginia.
Yeah.
So just a few minutes ago that report came in.
Okay.
Though the heavy part of that storm has left that part of Wise County, but still running through eastern Wise. So really our strongest storms right now are stretching from the area around Whitewood and Richlands, along the Buchanan, Dickinson County area, Davenport, near the near the Dickinson and Buchanan and Russell County line, and really much of Russell County getting hammered pretty hard with some very intense rain, likely some strong winds around Honeacre and Rosedale and Lebanon, Castlewood, into eastern Wise County around St. Paul. That would also include around Cleveland, and some pretty decent little pop-up showers with some heavy downpours now near Benham's, just west of Bristol, north of Bristol, but still the main part of the damaging wind threat is now approaching Gate City and Dungannon and Scott County and in Duffield, and then extending into northeast Tennessee from Sneedville toward Itsen along the Hawkins and Hancock County line. So heads up Rogersville and Burgoynesville and Churchill in Hawkins County along 11W. That line of storms is pushing in. And then that newest warning, which is for this really intense cluster of storms that look to be merging now with that line of storms from Kodak to near Warrensburg, and then another line of storms behind that kind of merging together, extending from Rutledge and just northwest of Morristown toward the Knoxville area. So these are the storms that are racing off to the southeast, east-southeast at about 70 miles per hour. And those counties being warned for that line of storms include the southern western parts of Hawkins County, all of Hamlin County, much of Greene County, southern Washington County, Tennessee, into Unicoi County. And I'll pop that warning on there, and we'll see that warning goes through 3:15, so another 45 minutes. So you can see the expectation is that, I'm sorry, I'm getting that over you, but the expectation between now and 3:15 is that these line of storms will be traversing all the way from where they are now through Hamlin County, through the lower end of Hawkins County, through Greene County, and through Cott County, and perhaps into southern Washington and Unicoi County. So that's a sign that these are booking along really fast. According to the National Weather Service, moving to the east at about 70 miles per hour. So they're going to move in to these areas very quickly, even though it seems like there's a fair distance yet between the main line and maybe Greenville or Irwin or Johnson City, but certainly they're moving so fast that it's going to cover a lot of real estate in the next hour or so for that warning to take seriously, even though it's a long ways away from some of these counties yet.
I just noticed another thing that's interesting. Another meteorologist is reporting, a meteorologist in Kentucky. He says the London mayor just told him that there are multiple fatalities, weather-related fatalities in London, Kentucky. I don't know, unconfirmed right now, but that's just something I noticed on the meteorologist chat.
That would be from that storm, the tornado warned storm that was coming through southeast Kentucky a while back, that came through Somerset and London, and then that moved into Manchester, and then eventually Hyden. So and that had a very classic, very strong signature of wind that would indicate that there might have been a tornado on the ground for or up and down or for whatever, hopping around. But we don't know how long or the tornado was on the ground, but there might be a lot of damage along that path because it was being warned for a tornado for hundreds of miles from western Kentucky all the way through eastern Kentucky before the rotation kind of dropped down below tornado threshold, according to Doppler radar. So that's kind of sad news. You said that was in London, Kentucky area.
Yeah, London, Kentucky.
That's right along Interstate 75. Right there. I mean, there's no more severe threat in that area, but they are being hampered now, I'm sure, with the search and you know, rescue and cleanup. Well, I'm sure cleanup's not on their mind right now necessarily, but getting people the help they need in rescue and finding those that may be trapped from whatever happened there. We don't really have a whole lot of details.
Yeah, that's true. I saw the information
What
on
did
that
it
right
say
now.
again?
It was just a meteorologist there. It says that London Mayor says that there's multiple fatalities there. I'm trying to get more information on it.
Okay. Very sad, very sad. And it's coming.
I hear it come down now here at the station.
Yeah, I can hear some downpours. I mean, this is one of those little cells. We're getting some heavy rain. We can hear above our station here, but that's not the main line. But that is definitely, you know, the cell that's right over downtown Bristol and extending up into Washington County, Virginia, west of Abingdon up toward Greendale. But again, we're seeing that kind of pop-up activity also in the metro around Hampton and Elizabethton and getting close to Watauga Lake, extending west toward Jonesboro, Okolona, into Unicoi County, near Unicoi, east of Interstate 26. So a little cluster of heavy downpours popping up in spots and in clusters, including around Bristol and Johnson City, Elizabethton.
Oh, yeah, right now. But Butler, you are going to be receiving that, so it is almost into your area. Yeah, I can definitely hear the heavy rainfall right now on our building. Jonesboro, some heavy downpours as well. Churchill, almost, it's almost actually close to 11W right now, near Rogersville, Sir Goinsville.
I'm just going to pop on to see if we got any, our camera at Churchill, see if we can see anything. It looks like some heavy downpours there occurring. Okay. Definitely coming down pretty hard. You can see it looks like wind-blown rain. I mean, the lighting is not very good, but you can definitely see the rain is.
You can see it.
It looks like the rain's kind of blowing almost sideways at times anyway.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
This is right near. This is our camera from Volunteer High School along 11W in Hawkins County in Churchill, and we were looking at.
Saw some lightning as well.
And we got that heavy, fairly small shower, thunder shower, but you can see some heavy rain now in Jonesboro as well. So definitely making some fast progress. We can probably see some heavy rain also if we go to the Russell County Courthouse in Lebanon and show you that real quick. Definitely you can see some lightning flashes. And so definitely poor travel conditions, obviously, and still that severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Russell County as well. We got some very heavy rain, some lightning continuing to occur there now. So we do have an update here, some new warnings issued that do include now the entire metro with the exception of Carter County and Johnson County. This new warning in effect for let me pop it up there for us, and this is the new warning. It includes several counties. It includes Hawkins, Russell, Sullivan, Washington, as well as Washington County, Tennessee, and Washington County, Virginia.
That's until 3:30?
Until 3:30 in the morning, yes. That's for about another hour. Okay. Those storms will be racing across the metro. Right now, those storms are right on top of Kingsport. So they have picked up. I know the estimated time was, I think, about 2:50 for Kingsport. So it's coming in now, you know, about 10 or 15, about 15 minutes earlier than what we were showing there on that StormTrack a little bit ago into the Kingsport area.
We have some new power outage numbers. They are really rapidly increasing in Lee County. Not good news, but I just noticed we are up to over 3,800 outages in Lee County, and Wise County now up to 904 currently out of the ones that are being tracked. That's just out of the ones being tracked. Some of these aren't actually on the map, but just wanted to point that out.
And so the moving southeast at 40 miles per hour. So we'll track this. Those storms right now right over.
Wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour, but they're moving off to the east at around, what'd you say, 40 miles
40
per hour?
miles an hour.
Okay.
It says right now. I mean, the mile per hour progression changes with each warning, so that's why we're probably getting a little bit the storm seemed to be moving a little bit faster when we were putting that plot there for Kingsport, but nonetheless, it is right on top of, we'll zoom into the Kingsport area. So on the Hawkins, Scott, Sullivan County line,
Right.
we're seeing some of the intense weather right now on Churchill along 11W. This also includes areas around Gate City and Lynn Garden, the Holston Army Ammo plant, and moving closer to Bloomingdale and downtown Kingsport, soon to invade also Colonial Heights in this area. So if we put a track on, it looks like what's the most intense part of that storm, moving east at about 40 miles per hour. We'll see how this is going to kind of track it eastward over the next hour. And I'm trying to get it so we're about right there, perhaps.
All right, so Kingsport 242, Tri-Cities about almost 3, as well as Bristol about 3, Abingdon about 310, Bristol Caverns about 312, and Damascus about 330.
We have another storm report just came in as of 2:31 a.m. of several trees down in Lee County, Virginia. I think that's pretty evident.
Yeah.
And then this line of storms that's coming into, not want to say that we're going to see major power outages, but this is the storm that just came through Lee County that's coming into and through Scott and Hawkins and now into the Kingsport area of Sullivan, and soon to push into Washington County, Virginia as well. So this has had a history, obviously, of some strong damaging winds, at least to power lines, according to the latest power outage situation in Lee County. But just be mindful that these storms are capable of producing up to 60-mile-per-hour winds now, it looks like, was the report for this warning, and perhaps some up to nickel-sized hail as well.
Yeah, speaking of that hail, I wonder what it's, do we have any?
I'll put that on here. Doesn't look like anything particularly big, which is good. So I mean, small hail for the most part. With the line here that's perhaps into Cott County there could be maybe some smaller hail, penny size. But generally the blues indicate very small hail typically if it's occurring at all. And then into parts of Scott County, between Gate City and Dungannon, maybe some small hail. Perhaps in Russell County there, near north of Lebanon, better coverage of maybe some smaller hail there, and east along Highway 19 between, east of Rosedale as well. But again, I don't think it's hail that is really the concern at this point with these storms. There are going to be some small hail in spots, but it doesn't look like damaging hail for the most part, which is good news. But certainly the strong winds are something that we got to keep an eye on for sure.
Most definitely, and we have seen that with this line of thunderstorms over the last few hours, and then also it's looking at the power outages, especially into Lee County. So they have really ramped up into Lee County, and wouldn't be surprised if more power outages are across the region, especially as this line of thunderstorms again continues to race off to the east.
So we got that line. It looks like the segment of the storm that has the strongest winds, that being warned for possible 70-mile-an-hour gusts, is the southern portion of the warnings here. And let me put that warning up there and show you what I'm talking about, which counties potentially have the stronger winds associated with the warning. The flashing ones there includes Morristown, Greene County, Hamlin County, Cott County. That line of storms appears to probably have the stronger winds with it. In fact, could be up to 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Not everywhere will receive 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, but certainly that is a possibility as it continues to slide southeastward. It's moving very quickly to the southeast at about 70 miles per hour, and we can do a scan on that. And it's got a little bit of a Boeing structure as well. So I mean, this definitely has potential for
those damaging straight line winds. I think Kit has a graphic for the power outages.
We do.
Well, before we get to that, let's just track this in through the Greene County.
Okay, so this is again, like Dave was saying, up to 70 miles per hour winds possible within this line of thunderstorms, and tracking it into, excuse me.
And it looks like it would be heading between around 255. Again, these are approximate times, heading in toward the Tusculum area, Greenville area, South Central. That would be in Washington County, Tennessee, between now and about 3:05, somewhere in that time frame. So that indicative of how fast things are moving. Irwin about 3:12. Unicoi about, again, don't pay attention to the exact minutes on these, because the speeds on these cells and segments of storms are varying quite a bit. But Unicoi around 2:15. And then as we look at Mars Hill, Burnsville, Newland, and Linville, that is already into North Carolina between 3:25 and 3:40 a.m. So you can see in about another hour, that portion of the line of storms is going to be pushing toward the North Carolina border, and that will, of course, bring an end to the severe threat. But as it comes across these areas, that will have some possible straight line winds and could cause locally some wind damage as that line of storms moves through your area. Probably not large hail, good news there, but certainly the likelihood of some strong gusty winds, and potentially, according to the latest from the National Weather Service, that there could potentially be max wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour. Again, maybe not everybody's going to see 70 mile an hour wind gusts, but locally there could be 70 mile an hour wind gusts with that line of storms as it is now moving across areas of near Morristown and Hamlin County. And we can zoom in a little tighter here and show some of the areas that are impacted from Bulls Gap to Morristown to Warrensburg to Dandridge, Jefferson City. All of these areas are right under the intense part of this storm now, but yet to move into, or shortly moving into, Newport and St. James and Greenville and Tusculum and Bayleton. And that line does extend up, of course, for the other warning, for areas of Hawkins County from Rogersville up toward Churchill, and into northern Greene County around Bayleton and Fall Branch, and into the Kingsport area currently, and Colonial Heights is getting set for it, and that extends all the way up into Scott County around Nicholsville. Kind of some little showers peppering parts of the Abingdon area, but the solid line is still just to the northwest around Nicholsville toward Brumley Gap and Castlewood, toward Lebanon and Rosedale. Pretty intense cell there. Moving into the Saltville area of Smith County. Probably see a warning go into Smith County here shortly, and then between Richlands and Tazewell County. So it's just a solid progression. I mean, if you aren't getting it now, you will, and if you've already seen it, you still have some rain behind the main line, but once that main line comes through, the severe threat ends, and you still have some showers, but the severe threat comes to an end after this initial line comes through. But anyway, go ahead, and I know you had prepared a graphic with some of the power outages around the area.
That is true. And there we have it, Teresa. Yeah, that's kind of the latest.
Yeah, Lee County, over 3,800 local power outages. Wise County, a little over 3,000. Russell County right now about 110. And Buchanan looking around 150 power outages that have been reported. So, yeah.
Yeah, these numbers have been emailed to our newsroom, and yeah, unfortunately, I'm sure that it'll continue to climb as we get more and more data in, because that was a pretty strong line of showers and storms. Well, we got the latest camera there from Kingsport City Hall, one of my favorite cameras. Look at that.
It's a great nighttime camera because you can see very well what's going on. And this is from City Hall, looking into the church circle area there in the downtown area of Kingsport. I wouldn't say severe winds at all right now. I mean, doesn't mean there haven't been or aren't some in the Kingsport area, but trees are swaying a little bit. But certainly some very heavy rain falling right now.
Most certainly some heavier rainfall, yeah.
And let's see, I was going to go back to radar and show you the latest there. So you can see now the line of storms basically it has advanced now right near and getting ready to push through the Morristown area, just near the Knoxville area, pushing through the northern part of Cott County, and we're seeing some heavy rain development in Greene County ahead of the line, stretching along Highway 321 there between St. James and Greenville, and then kind of a break there around Mossheim before the main line of storms is moving from near Morristown and Bowles Gap up toward Rogersville. So that's going to kind of close in on Greene County here now over the next few minutes, and is already closing in on Hawkins County, Kingsport, as we showed you the camera. Churchill, we showed you some of that really wind-driven rain on the Volunteer High School camera, and so this is soon to move into Bristol, soon to move into Abingdon. I mean, we've had some showers around, but again, the line itself is heading into and through Kingsport toward Interstate 81, around Bluntville and Colonial Heights. And so this will be moving into other parts of Sullivan County, Piney Flats, Bluff City, Bluntville, Bristol, and also into areas of Washington County, right now very close to Fall Branch, but will soon be pushing into, you know, the heart of Washington County. Will interact with the poor travel conditions along Interstate 26, obviously around Gray and Boones Creek and Johnson City as the storms come through. They're moving fast. They won't be severe for a long period of time, and not everybody will experience severe winds, but locally there could be some severe wind gusts with this line of storms as they push through. And as Kit was pointing out, we're getting high, pretty high totals there on the power outages. And what was it, Lee and Wise County, wasn't it, that have the 3,000 to 4,000 outages so far?
Almost 4,000. One thing I am noticing with this storm system, so it's still obviously meeting severe weather criteria, meaning, winds gusting potentially up to 60 for some of us, and help possibly up to an inch. But I think winds, like you mentioned, the greater threat. But you are noticing a general weakening trend. I am noticing over the past several scans, you're seeing less and less reds. The colors are dwindling down back to the yellows, the oranges. A number of strikes are also coming down. Still quite a few lightning strikes, enough to wake people up, that's for sure.
Oh, most definitely.
It's and the lightning strikes are most frequent, not necessarily in the upper portion of the line in East Tennessee. Let's say from Rogersville to Kingsport, the number of lightning strikes in this segment of the storm much lower frequency than it is on the southern portion of this line of storms that stretches from Knoxville through Kodak, getting close to the Smokies, into Cott County and Greene County and Hamlin County. Those are the areas that seem to still have very high frequency lightning currently, and that's probably where our stronger winds are with that line of storms as it continues. That part of the storm segment has been pushing southeast around 60 to 70 miles per hour, and a lot of wind potential with something moving that speed as the line continues to move into and through Hawkins, Greene, and eventually into Cott County, through Hamlin County now as well.
You have been saying that that kind of the north and the south end of the storm, right where you were looking at Knoxville all the way up to Rutledge and Greene, even into Greene County. That's the heaviest, a lot of thunder and lightning, and also the higher wind speeds.
Absolutely, and that was the portion of the line that was racing to the southeast at 70 miles per hour, while the northern flank of the metro, or part of the metro, where this line of storms is currently. Let me take off the, I'm not sure why I can't get rid of that. I want to get rid of the lightning. The northern segment of that line of storms is moving off to the east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour, while the southern part of this storm that is settling southward through Greene and Cott and Hamlin County and Hawkins County, heading toward Washington County, Tennessee, that's moving about 60 to 70 miles an hour. So yeah, I would say that right now the most intense part of this line is pushing through, and will be pushing through Greene County, Cott County, and eventually into probably Washington County, Tennessee as well. And also that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect also for Sullivan County as well, up into Washington County and Scott County and Russell County. And like I said, probably would have that extended into Smith County, and we do have, a new warning for Smith County as well. And that warning is in effect until 3:30 for Smith County. for up to 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and perhaps up to inch diameter hail. That would be quarter size, moving east at 35 miles per hour, and the line extending now from Tazewell to near Asbury's to near Saltville, moving east at 35 miles per hour. So that part of the storm is going to be moving into the Marion area very shortly.
Very short. And also, well, just east of Richlands into Tazewell County. And that does include, it does not include Richlands. It's east of Richlands for that severe thunderstorm warning.
And we can zoom in a little tighter to some of the more.
Yeah, but certainly Marion, Chatham Hill, Saltville area, and then into Tazewell. It does include Tazewell.
All right, so let's go ahead and track this part of the line, according to the National Weather Service, moving east at 35 miles per hour, so about half the speed as the southern part that's moving through, Greene County and Cott County and Hamlin County into parts of southern Hawkins and into eventually Washington County, Tennessee. So there are the approximate times that you can expect this severe thunderstorm to roll through Smith County.
Marion about 3:15, so we're looking at about another 20-25 minutes into Marion, and the Mountain Empire Airport about 3:23, and then into Wytheville about 20 till 4.
Wanted to mention a couple more things. Of course, the power outages continue to increase. Not good news there.
Okay.
Lee County now over 4,000 outages, it looks like. Wise County still holding around 3,000. Also, I'm noticing Hawkins County, that's new on the map, 480 power outages right now.
Okay.
A couple other little just tidbits of information. Got an email here from law enforcement at Russell County, Virginia, reporting widespread trees down. That is Russell County, Virginia. And of course, I'm still keeping an eye on the Kentucky tornado. We've got some emails to the weather department about potential fatalities, and definitely that London tornado there in London, Kentucky. Yeah, that looks quite devastating. But anyway, we'll keep our eye on that.
Okay.
And so you were reading that storm report out of Russell County. You said numerous trees down. And
widespread.
And that's the storm that is now moving out of Russell County and into northern, and has already moved into northern and western parts of Washington County, Virginia, and also moving the new warning for Smith and Tazewell and Wythe County. That is part of that segment of the storm that you just got official confirmation from law enforcement, assuming that might be from Russell County. That is reporting, widespread, some tree damage. So obviously, this portion of the storm still has the likelihood of some strong and damaging wind gusts with it as it moves through Washington County, Virginia, pretty much knocking on the back door of Bristol. In fact, already pushing into areas between probably around Central Heights Elementary School in Sullivan County there, toward the hospital, getting close to the hospital, and up toward Benham's, and then extending up toward Abingdon and Brumley Gap, and then Glade Spring.
Also, Russell County power. Oh, sorry, not to interrupt you there. Russell County now up to 2,400 power outages, so Russell County's numbers are going up.
Okay.
And
so, well, we are seeing those power outages increasing across the region.
And so the forecast models, yesterday were saying, and each one that came out subsequently throughout today, were indicating between midnight and 5 a.m. would be this line of storms, and that has held pretty much true. There's been, some error, obviously, in the timing a little bit, but the forecast models were pretty spot on about the timing and the possible strength, and the main threat for us would be straight line damaging wind gusts and perhaps some hail up to the size of quarters. Thankfully, we are at this juncture, we don't have any tornado warnings, but we did have several, and with confirmed tornadoes in southeastern Kentucky. And as Kit was mentioning, there are apparently numerous fatalities in the London, Kentucky area. Is that right? That was London, Kentucky, and Laurel County?
Correct, yeah. There's a meteorologist there that says, you know, I'm still waiting to confirm it, but yeah, it says that the London mayor is confirming fatalities there.
So maybe not numerous, but at least some fatality. I mean, if I said numerous, that may have been the wrong word to use, so I don't want to say that.
Yeah, I think they just said multiple, though.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Very sad.
Yeah,
Very
so
sad.
I mean, and so that is what's coming through here now, and you know, you know, sometimes we may avoid a twister or a tornado, but a tornado, a strong straight line winds can drop a tree onto a house, and that can be just as dangerous, and that's just why it's kind of scary at night when people are asleep and not necessarily aware of what may be coming at them, but.
Well, that's what I was have said before about especially tornadoes at night. That's the worst because you can't see them at all.
Exactly, and especially with our mountains.
Yeah.
In our terrain and our amount of trees. This part of the country, it's really hard sometimes to see them, and at night, like you said, it's nearly impossible, but
yeah,
it's even hard during the daytime.
It is. It's you know, not good during the daytime, but it's even worse at night, and unfortunately, we're seeing those tornadoes that had come through that part of the Kentucky overnight.
I know we mention it fairly often, but really can't emphasize enough the importance of having ways to receive warnings to know what's going to be heading for your local county. Absolutely best way to go. So that way, have a safe place, have a place to go when, you know, severe weather, like we've been seeing off and on, starts to threaten your local area.
Yeah. Most definitely, we've been seeing that. Still looking at those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect until about, what, 3:15, 3:30, 3:45?
Yeah. So the warnings here for Greene, Cog, Hamlin, Southern Washington into Unicoi County, that warning is in effect until 3:15, so about another 15 minutes or so. That warning, and new ones have been issued into parts of Yancey County as well as Madison County as well in North Carolina. But the ones in our part of East Tennessee, Cog, Greene, Hamlin, it's moving out of the Hawkins County area now, but into Unicoi County. That warning is until 3:15.
Okay.
That's for the flashing polygon here. And then the northern part of the metro that is under severe thunderstorm warning, that warning is in effect until, let's see here, until 3:30.
Okay.
And that does include areas from Bayleton to Jonesboro to Johnson City to Kingsport to Bluntville and Piney Flats and Bluff City, Colonial Heights and Bluntville, Jonesboro. That's until 3:30 up toward the Bristol area and into Washington County, Virginia as well until 3:30. That includes Bristol, Tennessee, Bristol, Virginia, Benham's area, just east of Mendota now, but toward the Greendale area, Abingdon, and like we were talking about the trail days in Damascus, it's been largely avoiding that part of our viewing area, but now we just had a heavy cell move across Damascus, so hikers and campers there obviously being impacted by the heavy rain, and that's not even the main part of the line that the warning is in effect for, but that warning for Washington County, Virginia is until 3:30 as well. That does include Damascus here over the next, half hour or so. Yeah. So that will obviously continue to be a problem. And then the most recent warning that was issued does include areas of Smith, Tazewell, and Wythe County until 3:30 as well.
Okay.
So around anywhere from 3:15 to 3:30, these warnings are in effect for basically, well, it affects all of the metro except we do not have a warning for Carter or Johnson County yet, or the northern end of Unicoi County, but that will probably be added here shortly.
Yeah, and we're starting to hear some heavy rainfall right now at the station. Heard a few rumbles of thunder as well. So we're starting to receive it into the Tri-Cities area with some heavy downpours, Probably seeing a lot of lightning as well.
Yeah, I put the lightning on there.
Okay. You were reading my mind.
And it still looks like the more frequent lightning is stretching from near Bayleton and Greenville, south towards Cedar Creek and Newport, and then back west toward Dandridge and Kodak to just north of Sevierville, and then toward the Knoxville and Farragut and Harriman areas in the Knoxville metro area. That's where the most intense part of the line that is in East Tennessee is occurring, but there certainly is a formidable rainstorm and some occasional lightning into northern Washington, Sullivan County in East Tennessee, and some new development in Johnson County, not warned for, but some new development there, and then some pretty obviously heavy rain along Interstate 81 near east of Abingdon up toward Meadowview, Glade Spring, DeBusk Mill, that area, and then into Smith County around Chilhowie, and near Marion up toward Chatham Hill, Adkins getting it or just about ready to. And definitely some lightning strikes and probably some hail here in Smith County as well. Pretty intense area.
We are starting to get some power outage information too here. In the Tri-Cities areas, I was going to add Washington County, Tennessee, now up to 840 power outages. So in the Tri-Cities area, starting to see that too.
So we have that graphically on Max too, if you want to take to that, though.
Yeah, because it's looking like Lee County over 4,000 customers are without power.
Correct.
Wise almost looking close to 4,000 as well, 3,700. And then, like Kit was saying, Washington County, Tennessee, 840. Russell County, though, 2,400 power outages. So.
And that's been going up pretty quickly, and
rapidly.
Just about when you got that storm report email from Russell County that indicated widespread, tree damage and power outages in Russell County, and so that's starting to show up with the power outage map now across that part of Southwest Virginia.
Yes, it is. Thanks, Kit, for that. Going back to the radar, and I think, Dave, you were showing some hail formation.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just take a quick look at the hail product. And again, it's not, I mean, there might be some small hail along the line, but it's the southern end, which you can see here. This is kind of outside our viewing area, though, but toward Sevierville and Newport. There's where we probably have some quarter-sized hail occurring, and that line is settling southward and heading towards Sevierville and heading toward Newport and Cott County. And some small hail possible here in Greene County as well, heading toward Greenville and Mossheim. But again, this is not damaging hail in the green there, but there could be some small hail with that.
Maybe some pea-sized hail with this.
Exactly, and then not too much through Sullivan or Washington, Virginia, but it could be some small hail, or perhaps maybe up to maybe penny-sized hail there in the northern part of Smith County, east of Saltville, up toward Chatham Hill, and then into Tazewell County along Route 16 there south of Tazewell. So again, I don't think it's the hail that is causing problems, other than it makes a lot of noise. Even small hail when it falls and hit your home, hit your vehicles and stuff, but probably not damaging hail. In most cases, not to say there couldn't be, and it hasn't been or will be, but I would say just looking at that latest scan, doesn't look like that's our concern, but certainly some strong winds are, as the downpours continue to advance very quickly. Now into Cott County near Newport, has overspread just about all of Greene County now, and overspreading Washington County. Probably the more intense part of that storm in Washington and Greene County is centered from near Greenville along Highway 11E up through Tusculum up toward Limestone, South Central just to the west of Telford now, and that would be racing eastward into Washington County, Tennessee.
So Telford, it is really right on your doorstep. You will be receiving that heaviest rainfall, as well as some very strong winds. And even into Jonesboro and points a little bit farther east, Lamar, and starting to move into maybe Unicoi County.
I accidentally stopped that. I'm going to go ahead and put up a camera. It it's kind of hard to see at nighttime, but here's the Tusculum camera. Well, maybe it's down. The storm may have interfered with our streaming of from Tusculum University, so I was going to show you that. And just see, give it another second. So it looks like we may have lost that capability to stream.
I do have a pretty incredible video. The thing is, I don't know what location this is. I do want to appreciate Damien. Is it Damon?
Damien Stevens?
Yes. Anyway, great video. Fantastic video.
Oh my gosh,
I don't know what location this is, but I really do appreciate you sending that incredible video.
Was that on Chime In?
That was actually through our email to our newsroom.
Okay.
Look at that. That is incredible.
Yeah, that's
wow.
wow.
I don't know what
Very
location has been.
impressive.
Very impressive.
Okay. That's pretty good there.
We got several trees down in Washington County. Just now received a report here
Virginia.
to our weather. Yeah, Washington County, Virginia, several trees down as of 3:04 a.m.
And that's going to be pretty, I think, widespread situation that, you know, as this line comes through every county, I'm sure there are some trees that are going to be coming, you know, falling due to the wind, and some areas are going to be hit harder than others, but that obviously is causing the power outages that have surged here over the past couple of hours, or last hour even. As the line of storms come through, we see the numbers go up for those counties on the power outage map, and that'll just to be something that, you know, crews will be working on tonight and tomorrow to get everything back up and lights back and power back on for everybody.
Once we get this line out of our area, this is the line that is producing the very strong winds and heavy rainfall. Once that moves off more towards the east, we will see some light to moderate rain showers, but the severe threat after that line pushes through, that'll be it. So right now it is pushing through Bristol area into Abingdon and near Mountain City, is receiving some heavier rainfall. But again, once this line moves through, moves off to the east a little bit more and gets out of the Tri-Cities, that'll be it for the night with as far as the severe thunderstorms. Still looking at some rain showers even behind this line, and then again, most of everything will be out of here by 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So just a few more hours for that.
Yeah, I would say within an hour, the severe threat will have ended pretty much for Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia. It already has west of the line.
Right.
In Hawkins County and
Exactly.
Scott and
you can definitely
and
see
Russell.
near 81. Points north is really nothing, but more towards the south and the east, that's where we still have that severe line of thunderstorms. So once that gets out, it'll be over. But still looking at some showers that we will still continue to hang on through, even near Norton and Whitewood area, just some light to moderate rain showers. And then, of course, we get that heavier line of thunderstorms anywhere from Wytheville, Marion, Richlands, not in any severe threat by any means, just the very eastern portions of Tazewell County, very southeastern portions, but more into Smith County. Marion is still under that severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect until about 3:30. So these warnings, just about another 5-10 minutes for even into the Bristol area, and then even into Tazewell and into Smith County, that is until about 3:30. So looking about 3:30, 3:45 for these severe thunderstorm warnings. So just a little bit more time with this line that's will be moving through and weakening. It definitely has weakened a lot more than what it was, especially as it started into our southeastern Kentucky area, but certainly as it moves off to the more towards the south and the east, it is weakening. No more threat for tornadic activity, but what we are seeing now is some heavy rain a lot of lightning with this. And of course, we're seeing the damaging winds and a lot of power outages across the region as well, as Kit was giving us some updates on that. So into Lee County, into Washington County, now we're seeing those power outages increasing as well.
Yeah, those numbers have, like you all have mentioned, have been rapidly increasing. And of course, we'll stay on here with you guys until we get these severe warnings out of especially out of this Tri-Cities area. Right now, still kind of under the gun here. And like you mentioned, Teresa, well, we got frequent cloud to ground lightning happening in Smith County there around Marion, under the warning for some 60+ mile/hour gusts, or at least up to that in and around the area. Doesn't mean that everybody in Smith County there will see 60+ mile/hour gusts, but it at least is warned for that. Also, we do have that as well in Washington County. And check it out. Yeah, the lightning's still continuing. Like you mentioned, though, it is weakening down somewhat.
Yeah, it is weakening. Thankfully, it is weakening, but still we're seeing a lot of lightning and, of course, some heavy rainfall. Still actually pushing a little bit more towards the east of Bristol right now, into Johnson City, Elizabethton area. And so that's, again, those severe thunderstorm warnings remain in effect until about 3:15, 3:30 area. But here is South Holston Dam, some heavy rainfall currently into that area. 421 Bridge and Shady Valley, some heavy rainfall, and then points a little bit farther south and east into Mountain City, into Sadie and Trade. Even into Elk Mills, we're seeing some heavier rainfall, a lot of lightning associated with this as well. But what if even just about an hour or so makes a big difference from what it was earlier into southeast Kentucky, and then now look at it, it's pushing more into getting ready more for the East Tennessee mountains, and then eventually it's starting to already move into North Carolina mountains right now. So again, it's moving very quickly. Anywhere, again, the line of thunderstorms, especially into near the Tri-Cities area, is moving off to the east at about 40-45 miles per hour. Much faster wind gusts up to about 70 miles per hour. So some very, very strong winds, and we've seen that over the last few hours.
Yeah, we've got several reports in, and actually, well, we're still continuing to get some of those in. Yeah, the latest one was showing widespread trees down in Russell County, and also I noticed in, Lee County, of course, several trees down as well. Just going to see if I can pull up some of the latest number. Power outages are continuing to increase. Okay. And the storm's racing over past Bristol now. So yeah, if you're around the South Holston Lake there, likely seeing some heavy rain, lightning, and of course some strong winds, potentially up to 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, we are seeing some heavier rain showers. Most of the severe thunderstorms is pushing more towards the east of or southeast of Bristol right now, but certainly even near Lebanon, Gate Cities, Norton area wise, where you're seeing that yellow and a little bit of orange in there, that's some heavier rain showers. So not looking at any severe thunderstorms by any means, but certainly some strong thunderstorms producing some heavy rainfall, and probably still looking at a lot of lightning as well.
Yeah, Johnson City, it's taken a lot of time for the Tri-Cities to actually start to get in on some of this action, but we are seeing that now in Washington County, Tennessee. So I'm sure you're hearing the thunder there in Johnson City. Notice all of the heavy downpours there. Jonesboro, Tennessee, getting quite a bit of heavy rain down to around Oklahoma. Unicoi County seeing that as well. We still have those severe thunderstorm warnings that include much of the metro. Actually, pretty much all of the Tri-Cities metro area still under the warning. However, the most severe of the threat now pushing east of Kingsport, east of Bristol. Johnson City, right now, the main Tri-City area that's still seeing some of that heavy rain and the strong potential wind gusts up to 60.
Yeah, Jonesboro, even off down into Unicoi, Irwin area still into that severe thunderstorm warning. You're actually just getting the start of it. It's just to the very west of Irwin, or getting very, very close to Irwin downtown. But certainly St. James and Greenville, you're on the north side of that storm, and then South Central. Again, this is moving very quickly, very fast to the east. So once this line of thunderstorms is out of here, moves off, the severe threat is over. And again, we're looking at about 208 strikes, lightning strikes, in a duration of about 30 minutes. And that's all the way from Johnson City to Bristol area to Jonesboro, even points north, even near Abingdon, seeing some lightning, and now a lot of lightning in Marion and Conorack, and even into Wytheville area.
We'll see if I can do something a little different here, if it will let me. I'm just going to see if we can take a look at some of those rainfall rates. Woo! Yeah, look at that.
My
How
goodness.
about that? So, yeah, see if we can take a look at like Bristol's rainfall rate when it got really heavy. How about that? So, can you imagine if it rained for like just an hour? Over an inch rainfall rates per hour. How about that?
Yeah.
Some of those locations. I mean, we're seeing that in Tennessee too. How about that? An inch and a half there for Greenville. Of course, most of that rain now pushing off to the south and southeast of Greenville, but still getting pretty much a good area of moderate rain there, that is for sure. And then the lightning now pushing off to the south, but I'm sure folks can hear the thunder roaring
Oh,
this
most
morning.
definitely. Near Irwin, and then points a little bit farther south, Roan Mountain area and Mountain City. It's just starting to move into North Carolina.
Absolutely, and this whole line has been progressing through Southwest Virginia, moving off into East Tennessee, and of course still seeing that in Smith County, Virginia. We've had several cloud to ground lightning strikes. Let's see if we can see if there's any hail remaining with this. The main danger at this point is mainly winds. Not really seeing much hail here on the hail tracker, so that's good news. We definitely do not want that, so that's good.
Yeah, so really the main thing with these thunderstorms now is the heavy rainfall, and of course the very strong gusty winds that has been producing some damage within trees being knocked down, as well as the power outages. So we have multiple counties across the region that are showing quite a bit of power outages, and especially into Lee County, and then I have a feeling that those power outages numbers have continued to increase.
Absolutely.
Very quickly.
Absolutely. We'll try to get an update on those numbers here shortly. Also, I wanted to just pass on a couple other little pieces of information. We're getting reports in Smith County, a tree down blocking both lanes, North Main Street. That is in Smith County, so around Marion.
Okay. Again, with those very strong winds, we're seeing some trees knocked down. That was just one of many reports that we have received, not only earlier this afternoon, but we're continuing now to receive them. So again, keep sending those reports. We'd love to get your photos. You know, be careful trying to get them, but certainly we'd love to get, because that kind of validates or kind of what we're saying. It is actually, you're seeing it as well. So please send them in to chime in. You can email them to us as well. But this is the latest Doppler radar right now. And yeah, really it's looking, to me, it's looking a little bit more weakening as it's continuing even to push out of the Tri-Cities area.
Yeah, it's certainly been on a weakening trend. Certainly good news. Always glad to see that. Of course, the mountains terrain, help with that. But also we've had a little bit of a capping inversion in place too that I'm sure has helped out noticeably, at least kept it from getting any stronger. We still have the warnings in effect, so obviously you could still be seeing, some areas of 60-mile-per-hour gusts all the way from Smith County into northeast Tennessee down into Washington County, Tennessee. And even Greene County, Tennessee, that down around Camp Creek. Don't want to diminish that fact, but for the most part, you are noticing from a broader perspective, it is generally weakening down.
Oh yeah, most definitely weakening. So again, once this line pushes out of the area, that is done with the severe threat. Still some lingering showers will be over the next few hours, but really by 7 a.m., it is tracking off to the east of our viewing area. So after this line moves through, we'll be fine. For most of Saturday, we are going to remain dry, so that is very good. But what you had said earlier, it's going to be windy tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Or today. It is today. It is Saturday.
It is Saturday. It is early on your Saturday morning.
Yes.
We just got a storm spotter report of a 57-mile-per-hour gust in Greenville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Ooh.
57 mile per hour.
From a train spotter, yes.
Okay.
Yes. That at the surface. You know, it's very interesting. A lot of times we look at radar, but radar shoots a beam that's, you know, approximately a half degree. So it's actually a few thousand feet up in, you know, altitude. So I'm always curious to see how strong the winds actually are at the surface level. In this case, yeah, we've had a gust near 60 miles per hour, very close to it in Greene County.
And that's what, within the severe thunderstorm warning, that's what they were anticipating. So right on spot.
Right on the money. All right. We'll go ahead and cover Power 5 Doppler radar here a little bit longer. We're waiting until some of these warnings pass and looking forward to their expiration. Still see the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Washington County, Virginia, up to Smith County. Also down in northeast Tennessee, yeah, as you see there, Teresa, into Sullivan County. Still have that in effect, but the majority of it is now moving to the south and east of Sullivan County. Johnson County, under the gun for some heavy rain there, some winds still possibly in the strong thunderstorm category. It doesn't look like severe weather criteria. We don't have the warning there in Johnson County, but it is up to potentially maybe around 50-ish miles per hour. We still have the warnings, though, in effect all the way down into Greene County, Tennessee, too.
Yep. So about another 10 minutes or so until about 3:30, these warnings will remain in effect. And again, seen a lot of lightning. Number strikes 350. I just saw 391 within the last 15 minutes. And again, most of this is especially into Unicoi County, into Greene County, all the way down into Knoxville. That is where a lot more lightning is being seen, plus the line of thunderstorms has been moving extremely fast. You know, 50, 60, 70 mile per hour. Very, very fast moving storms.
Yeah, they're still progressing like that.
So until 3:30 for Greene, Sullivan, Washington. So that's until 3:30. So about another 8 minutes. And they will let it expire.
Yeah, your main impacts with something, you know, like this, we're looking at generally what we would consider baseline severe weather criteria now. Still severe, but in general, as far as impacts, power outages, absolutely. We are seeing that. Those are still rapidly increasing. In fact, we just got an email just now. I'll take a look at that here in just a second. But do expect, when you get gusts up to potentially 60 miles per hour, you can have damage to roofs, shingles blown off, and certainly weaker structures, usually not holding up as well under 60 mile per hour gust. Just want to pass on this latest power outage information. We'll try to get an updated graphic here in just a little bit. But Scott County, Virginia, now up to 678. Smith County, Virginia, 3,452.
Whoa.
That is really, that's
Okay.
rapidly increased.
That is, so that's Smith County?
That is Smith County,
Okay.
Virginia, yes.
All right. So we are seeing all over our viewing area a lot of power outages because of the intensity of these thunderstorms. When we've seen some very damaging winds, some very strong winds moving through, and plus a lot of lightning. And we've had some hail, not so much now, but certainly earlier when we first started, even back in, even this afternoon and even early this evening into Kentucky, where we had hail up to about at least a good quarter size, if not a little bit larger.
Yeah, I was about to say, we have received some chime-in photos. And of course, we always love to see your chime-in photos when it's safe to do so. I saw some photos a little bit larger than quarter size, and also they have those almost like signature spikes on them. Almost like, yeah.
Yes, I did see that.
So really do appreciate your photos. Of course, when we have the shows here at 7 o'clock, we'll try to get some photos on there where you can see them as well. Here's a broader perspective. Like you mentioned, Teresa, though, generally the line overall is kind of experiencing a weakening trend.
Which that's what we'd like. We'd like to see that. So again, it's still into Greenville area, all the way down to Mountain City, some heavy rainfall with some gusty winds. And not so much hail, but certainly a lot of heavy rainfall and strong winds that you will be receiving. Abingdon's getting a little bit of a break, but certainly some heavier rainfall right now into Lebanon, and even probably seeing some stronger thunderstorms near Lebanon or just south of Lebanon. Same thing in Gate City, some heavier rainfall, and even still into Bristol, just maybe south of Bristol into Tennessee area, we're seeing some heavier rainfall all the way down to Bristol Motor Speedway area, even into Gray, Tennessee, into Johnson City, as well as in Jonesboro, and even farther, a little bit farther south into very southern portions of Greene County, where a lot of heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning associated with this. So this is what we're kind of looking at. Kit?
Splicing it up in 3D there. And not to nerd out on you all, but earlier in the day, we've had some of these storms actually reaching upwards of 50,000+ feet, way higher than the cirrus cloud level, which are high-level clouds, mainly ice crystals. But yeah, check this out. Still, even at this late hour, you're seeing these cloud tops, splicing this up in 3D. This is the Power 5 Doppler technology for you folks. Looking at that, cloud tops reaching upwards of 30,000 feet. So still pretty high. Yeah, that's a good 10,000 feet higher than a lot of cirrus clouds. Just kind of a nerdy note. We'll get back to the warnings, obviously. But yeah, we still have several warnings to talk about, but still seeing some pretty high cloud tops.
Yep. Again, those warnings are in effect until 3:30. So got a little bit, just a few more minutes for these warnings that will more than likely go ahead and expire. But you're pulling up
several storm reports.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can pull up some information on them. But yeah, while you're looking at, there's several of those.
Yeah, a lot of storm reports across the region. Wind damage in Smith into Marion. Winds blew down multiple trees along the 700 block of West Johowie Street.
Yeah, here's one in Abingdon, or near Abingdon.
Several trees down. And then also, see, into Lebanon, widespread trees are down. So we are seeing, it's kind of a theme here with train spotter measured what?
Sorry, yeah. I went a little too fast there.
Oh, 57 mile per hour gusts in Greenville. Okay.
And here's one more. We'll take another look at that.
Into Greene County, Midway, trees down across the area as well.
Thankfully not seeing as many storm reports. Doesn't mean that obviously the storms haven't happened in the Tri-Cities, but we haven't seen as many reports come in from the immediate metro area. But all around the region, yeah, those storm reports have been coming in. They've been trickling in.
Yes, yes. And still looking at some light to moderate rain showers still falling into Kentucky and even into Wise, Norton area. Richland, some heavier rainfall indicated by the yellows and the oranges, and then points a little bit farther south and east where this line of thunderstorms is continuing to move eastward, more so out of southwest Virginia as far as the severe threat goes. I should say that from Smith County up into Wythe County. That's where we're still looking at that severe thunderstorm warning, but most of this is continuing to move off to the east. Same within the Tri-Cities area. Mountain City does not have a severe thunderstorm warning, but looking at some stronger thunderstorms near Mountain City and then all the way down to Butler and Trade. And then points a little bit farther south near Hampton and Roan Mountain. So a lot of heavy rainfall. Strong thunderstorms not under a warning right now, out as well as Butler and Elk Mills. And then a little bit farther south into Irwin, into Unicoi County. Still looking at that severe thunderstorm warning, and then points a little bit farther into Greene County, Greenville, Tusculum area near St. James, and more towards Rocky Fork. Looking at Sam's Gap area, still looking at some heavy rainfall, as well as a lot of lightning and gusty winds.
Yeah, and all right, folks, we will stay on for at least a couple more minutes just until some of these warnings expire. But it looks like, actually, speaking of which,
looks like everything has expired.
Looks like everything has expired with the exception of southern Greene County, so some good news there. So as we've been, mentioning, Teresa and I, Dave here at the top of the hour, the main threat, once this line moves through, as it is doing so, I mean, most of it is moving to the south and east of the Tri-Cities area now. That is it. We can expect some rain generally as we go through the next few hours. And it is going to be breezy for your Saturday, but your Saturday looks to become partly cloudy, a little bit better weather scenario other than just the winds, just the breezy conditions. But in general, we are finally seeing some positive news here with those warnings.
Yes.
Expiring, so some good news there.
Most definitely some better news once this line pushes east. So,
well, I want to say a huge thank you to everybody here, of course, Teresa, Carter, and I, and Dave Dierks, meteorologist Dave Dierks, for the evening. We've been tracking these storms for, the past several hours, including earlier today, finally seeing some good news. But with that, since the severe thunderstorm warnings are now expiring, from Teresa, Carter, and I here at the StormTrack 5 weather team, we're going to put it back to regular programming. You have a safe and a great night.